But yeah, basically a lot of shit's happened since the last time we've been in here doing this.
Yeah. I guess we started out by taking off for the holidays.
Yeah, we did.
We took Christmas week and New Year's week
We
off.
haven't done this since before Christmas, have we?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, I survived it just fine. We had a couple of get-togethers, and I managed to work my way through it. And
there you go.
Well, it's and at my point of desperation one time, I got to thinking, is it about Big Earl's birthday? Is it about time for us to go up to the dealer house?
No.
Oh,
not quite.
It'll be in February.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, it's tomorrow's February.
Yeah.
So
Wednesday's be February.
well, it's almost February, Earl. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I think, I don't think we waste any more time because this story is going to take, there's going to be some twists and turns in this story that people are not going to be expecting and Earl hasn't heard firsthand yet. Mm-hmm. So basically what happened was...
Well, hold on a minute now before we get started about this.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that's happened.
Yeah.
But for Earl, none of it's happened to Earl.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
the rest of it's been around Earl.
Yeah, but you don't remember anything that happened to you, most of it.
I don't. For 3 days, I don't.
So just hush and let Caleb tell the story.
Oh, he gonna know more about it than I do.
We'll get to you and your dad burned jump box here in a little while.
Yeah, we'll get to a question and answer here in a little bit. But so it was 2 weeks ago today, we were, and what's funny is I thought that morning, I said, hey, maybe we should just knock out a podcast today. But you was out of town. Mm-hmm. Josh had something to do, so I was like, me and Dad will come in here and just knock out a quick episode or whatever. And then I got here and I was like, I don't want to plug shit in. So we played golf instead on the Xbox. Well, about 12:30 that night, I get a call from Dad, and he says, help, I can't breathe, help. So I get here. Took me about 4 minutes. And
normally about a 15-minute scoot.
Yeah, I was. I told Josh that my truck.
Caleb
says
lives about what, 9 miles away, 10 miles away.
Yeah. So. My truck says it'll do 120, and it said that for a little bit while I was driving. So
it wasn't lying. No.
He was going every bit 120.
Yeah, and get here, and Dad is in the midst of a traumatic event, which. Basically, Dad had a heart attack, and
not to make light of all you people who had a heart attack, because heart attack can kill you. I mean, it's done it, but I didn't know I was having a heart attack. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't catch my breath, and I got to a point where I was panicking because I couldn't catch my breath, and that's when I just called Kay on my phone and said, help, I can't breathe. And that's about the last I remember that part.
It never crossed your mind to dial 911 and tell them help you couldn't breathe, though, did it?
Call who?
199.
Why would I call them? Kelly got here a whole lot quicker.
Yeah, and he brought his defibrillator and you...
Well, all I had was a pair of jumper cables. But the problem was Dad was on the back deck.
And the truck was down here.
The cables I had weren't quite long enough, and I didn't know how to. I would have called you, but I felt like time was of the essence.
And it would have taken me a while to get here.
I was going to say, and also I didn't want to wake you up. So I said, on my way here, I called 911 because actually first I called Josh, and then I called 911, which kind of leads. We ought to get our priorities straight because Dad didn't call 911. I didn't call 911. Nobody called 911.
You guys got to do better in emergencies.
Yeah.
911 first, then.
Yeah.
It's understandable, though.
Well, I'll be honest with you.
First time something like this is happening.
When you call 911, you know what she says? What's your emergency? Well, maybe I was having a heart attack. I couldn't talk.
Right.
So what am I going to tell her?
Yeah. Well, they'll send somebody.
And they'll send somebody. That's right. But then she's going to want to talk some more. What's your address? I'm having a heart attack. I can't talk. So she don't have to ask all them questions because you're right. They're going to send somebody, So quit asking me questions. That's the reason I don't call 911. Call Kay. Let him answer them questions and them people. Because he can answer them. I couldn't.
Well, at least they got somebody on the way who's got, long enough jumper cables
Yeah.
and maybe, some medication that might be prudent to whatever your emergency might be. I
Right.
mean, if you bleeding out, they might have a tourniquet.
Some gauze, tourniquet,
or so.
hydrogen
I
peroxide.
see. I didn't know what was going on. He just could, he needed help. So on the way up here, I thought, man, maybe he got cut real bad, and I need to rub some dirt in it. So I grabbed a handful of dirt running up the stairs, and once I figured out that wasn't it, I, threw it at Skillet. But
Chunk the dirt.
yeah, so on the way, I called 911, and I said, hey, I need somebody to this address. And they said, what's going on? I said, I don't know. Dad called me, said he needs help. And they said, okay, we'll get somebody on the way. I said, where are they coming from? Which, looking back, is probably not a great question because I'm calling 911. So
It don't matter where they're coming
yeah.
from.
She said, they're coming from the hospital, which is about 2 miles away, 3 miles maybe.
3 miles tops.
And I said, oh, okay. She said, why? I said, I can get him there in about 30 seconds if they're coming from anywhere else. She said, no, they're coming from the hospital. So I got here, and about a minute and a half after I got here, they got here, which was good because I don't know what to do, which is about 95% of my life. I don't know what to do. I just kind of guess, and hope.
I'm the same way when I'm cooking pasta. I don't really know what to do with pasta.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How
You
do
put
know
butter
you're
in there or
doing it?
not?
I
You put
do.
a little drop of oil in there or don't you?
Yeah.
Both.
I've heard it both ways.
Both. You can
And
do
then
both.
how long do you let that? How long does it bubble?
Right.
9 minutes for like
Well, see,
al
that's
dente.
what I'm thinking. 9-10 minutes. No, it says 13 minutes on.
Well, that's
Well, I got
real
my-
soft.
I got my phone out watching every minute go by, waiting on 13 minutes to go by, and then I get it out and it tastes like rubber. I'm thinking, should have been 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah, they need to put, hey, check your water temperature. If it's not 600 degrees, then, you only need to go about 6 minutes.
Yeah, emergencies are kind of like that. You just don't. I feel like, obviously emergency personnel are trained to handle stuff like that. But, yeah, I think it, man, everybody should have to take a first aid course.
You had to.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing you're
helps.
talking about pasta, and
I don't know how we got to pasta, but go ahead.
and these emergency medical people. Have you ever noticed when they get out of the ambulance, they don't run.
No.
They just trotting
Roll in,
You
yeah.
know, they don't get no big eyes hurry.
Well, I feel like that actually kind of calms me a little.
It calmed me down.
Like, because they. Like
It didn't do it damn with me. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
I mean, I was thinking, y'all run, hurry. That's what I'm thinking. And they,
It's
Sauntering.
Hugging through
they
here.
was sauntering on in,
Yeah.
wasn't they?
Yeah, see, I imagine it like I feel that same way. I'm like, why don't y'all hurry up? But then I make sense of it to myself by saying, well, if I had somebody coming in that was, just say going to war, something serious, kind of like an emergency.
Earl.
I wouldn't want the guy coming in like a Tasmanian devil. I wouldn't want that guy leading my, group. I would want the guy who's more like an assassin, real calm, calculated.
calm, and
he
collected.
knows what he's doing. So I feel like.
See, yeah, you saying that now until you had a real emergency. Because what I was hoping that guy, I was hoping I could just see him with one eye. I was hoping he'd bust down the front door, run just as hard as he can, knocking the table, the sofa, everything out of the way to get to me, run through the back door, knock it plumb off the hinges, and grab hold of me. Mister, are you okay?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
And then you would have looked at him and been like,
Yeah, I said, no.
can't talk.
But my God, thanks for getting here in 7.2 seconds.
That's a good
That's
point. Because
what I thought. I mean,
I have this technique that I use sometimes in stressful situations. Not really didn't apply here because it wouldn't have helped at all. But say if Carrie gets upset about something at work and she comes home and she's telling me about it, and, and she don't really cuss, but she's like, man, it just really pissed me off. And I'm like, well, fucking go hit him. Fuck him up. Hit him with a bat or something. And then she's like, whoa, what are you so
big
mad
fella.
about? And it calms her down because I lost my shit.
Because you went madder. You went to
Exactly.
that next level of
You gotta
mad.
take it
So
up
it's
a
like-
Now,
notch.
I used to use that same tactic as a supervisor.
Yeah, buddy.
When somebody came to me with a problem, I would try to think of what's the most extreme solution to this.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if they didn't like that, Joe Blow was drinking 12 cups of coffee today, all right, let's get rid of the coffee pot.
Yeah.
Knowing they drank coffee too,
Right.
Yeah, no, we should
So-
get rid of coffee in general. Like, we should put
the
a
whole
ban
dang
on
plant. No more coffee.
No coffee.
You know,
Yeah.
that's
That's just,
yeah.
You know, if that's the issue, then let's get rid of coffee altogether. No drinking on the job of any fluids
any
at
liquid
all.
other than water, and
And
even
then,
that.
of course, they start backing off, and
Start
you
calming her
you
down.
find out they're just mad about something else other than
I call
drinking
that
12
technique
cups of coffee.
raising the baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think that would be good in the emergency.
But the good thing about it is they was. I think I saw 9 of them come in here. They might not have been that many.
there were.
But I think
You might have been seeing double, but yeah.
Well, I
There
don't
were
know, but there's a
people,
lot
I
of
think.
them.
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
was 6 of them
Yeah.
plus
6.
me. So
And here's the other thing I got. You know, I mean, it don't matter. I'm glad now, but like, they bring the fire truck every time, just
Yeah.
in case you start a fire while you.
yeah,
Yeah.
While
never
you're
know
wobbling
when
around.
Fire will just break out. You never know.
fire's wild. Just in case if one gets loose or something, somebody has oxygen too close to an open flame.
Well, I'm thinking, you know, I think they get them fire trucks out because they don't use them no other time. You know, once a year at Christmas time, somebody's tree gets on fire.
Yeah.
Other than that, they don't use them no other time.
No.
So they gonna start taking them out every time there's a wreck.
Yeah.
You see a wreck,
Yeah.
there's a fire truck
Oh, yeah.
there.
Well, that's
you
why
know,
They have to log so many hours a month just to keep the truck, lubed up and
See?
functioning.
There we go.
and all. So,
I
yeah,
knew
they
Earl
get-
would
well,
know.
they get them
That's why they
trucks
did
out.
that. I think they realized the firemen were. I mean, they didn't have a lot of work to do. I mean, you didn't have a lot of. I mean, there's not a ton of. Fires
Another
going
thing
on
I
right
didn't
now.
know is, and I still don't, but like when you call, like you call 911, and that girl, whoever answered, says, "Well, what's your address?" or where? How do they decide who's gonna go? They call the hospital and say, "You got anybody standing around, or can you send somebody?"
I think it's like a
or
pager
how they do
probably.
that?
It's just
Yeah.
a pager, and then you hop in, and they probably got it on your GPS already. That would be most efficient, but I doubt it's that way.
Yeah, I think they have a program that says here, it shows GPS locations, like I say, that says we got an ambulance sitting over in Westminster, we got one up in Salem, we got 2 at the hospital, and one down here next to Clemson. And they say, all right, the emergency's right here, coming from the hospital is where we want you
Get
to
in the
come
van.
from.
Let's go.
Pinpoint it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would think they've got that. That's what I would expect.
Well, since you know all about these ambulances, so how do they decide when they're going to turn on the sirens and the lights? Because I don't want to be riding no ambulance without. If I'm gonna ride in, I want the
You want the
works. I want the
full-blown
works. I want the siren. I want the lights.
Little did you know, you took
got
a
'em.
ride with that and without it.
Yeah.
You took 2.
Well, see, there are rules about that too. Now I don't know that what I'm saying. Somebody
When y'all made up these rules,
no,
Earl,
we
who-
didn't make up
oh,
rules. They did. But like in Westminster, for example, where they put the new fire department back over there on the back street over there behind where the old Jansen plant was,
Yeah.
because that's all residential. You see, they aren't supposed to turn on their siren. I don't know about lights, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
siren until they get down to 123.
Right.
In other words, they jump. In
Well,
the
we're
truck,
gonna wake up somebody.
yeah.
Yeah.
And which there's no
courteous.
need. The siren does no benefit
Until
to
you're
go
at
up
an
a back
intersection.
street with no traffic on it.
Right.
You want the lights and siren for traffic purposes, so that people
Right.
see and or hear you coming. But when you're going up a street that's got nobody on it at 12 o'clock at night, 12:30,
Yeah.
whatever this was, there's no need for sirens and
Then you
lights
just being
because there's no
obnoxious.
Yeah, I was
traffic
gonna say you
to
just
get out of the way.
causing a mess at that point.
All right, hold up. I'm gonna call bullshit on it right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, first of all, don't take me because I'm not a good example, but take somebody like you. If ambulance come to your house, all right, everybody in Westminster is going to be texting each other. I don't care what, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. Everybody in Westminster is going to be texting each other. What's wrong with Earl? Where's Earl? What happened to Earl? The whole thing. You might as well turn on the sirens, the light, everything. That way everybody know something happened to Earl. And they don't have to text. They just call it, hey, what happened to Earl? Or they go out on their front porch.
Well,
What's wrong with Earl?
you got to put that into context. At the moment, I think all Earl's going to care about is are they taking care of Earl?
Yeah.
Now, whether Joe Blow and all my friends and loved
you
ones,
made my point for me. You made my point for me. Earl's in the back of this ambulance. Earl's thinking, I don't give a damn about nothing. Say Earl and get me to the hospital. Turn on them lights and them sirens and let's go.
Yeah.
See, them lights, them sirens ain't going to benefit anything at all.
They just letting people know, hey, we're working.
Yeah.
And we coming, and we coming, and we coming, and we coming in hot. So
Them lights and sirens is for the benefit of everybody else.
Yeah. Now I tell you this much, I did. Most of the time because I live on a main road, kind of like all of us. I can't stand hearing them things go by at the middle of the night. But
And that's
that
what
night,
people complain about is why do you need a siren
Yeah.
at 1 o'clock in the morning when there's not a headlight
the
inside
people-
nor a
the
taillight
people-
inside?
Scare the deer.
the people complaining are not the people inside the ambulance.
That's
Right.
correct.
yeah.
that night, I couldn't have been more thankful to hear that sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's one of those things you complain about till it's you, and then you're
That-
like, oh, well, I
that's
kind of get
correct.
it now.
That's
I
correct.
kind of get it.
So
I understand.
I'm done complaining about that. I'm not doing that. No.
Well, and nobody knows. I don't think just a few people. But my lights went out at about 12:30, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And from that was on Saturday night, I guess. Saturday night, which is really Sunday morning
Understand.
for y'all.
The clock works.
Yeah.
I got it.
Till Tuesday morning about 6:30, my lights was out. I was gone. Whatever you said happened because I wouldn't know the difference. If you said it happened, well, it happened.
Yeah.
All right. But I do remember, the last thing I remember is I was on the back deck and they had one of them, what you call them, gurneys, one of them things, you know what I'm talking about, Earl.
Stretcher?
Yep, they had one in there. They says, well, sit down right there. Well, I guess I didn't sit down. I actually slid down, I kind of laid down as I sat down. And the thing was still up, so I was kind of laid down, a little bit, but not too much. And I could look through my whole house, through the room, and I could look out the front door, which was open, and it was 28 degrees, and I'm paying the heating bill. But anyway,
That's what really pissed you off.
I thought if I could have hollered, I'd shut the damn door, but I couldn't get it out. But I could look through there and I could see the fire truck and ambulance. It is right out there in the middle of the road, blocking the road and everything. Of course, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, so and I could see that right there, and that's the last thing I remember. Except I remember looking at Josh and Kay, their face, or I guess Kay, and Kay had this smirk. Ain't the right word. It's more of a oh no, that kind of look, and that's the last I remember. So what that was all about, I guess we're gonna find out after a while.
Like a grimace.
Yeah.
It was a grimace.
Yeah, it was so the ambulance gets here, the paramedics come in, and is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Okay. I was sitting there thinking they're not flying in like on a.
You call it paraplegics? Is that what'd you say?
No, that would not have been helpful at that point. That would have honestly.
That's what they were coming to get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They would have stopped at the stairs and been like,
Honestly, if one of them would have showed
Get 'em
up, I'd
here.
have been pissed. I'd have been like, "What in the hell are you doing here?"
What about Pete?
who?
Pete.
Pete?
Yeah.
Oh well, now yeah, Pete. Okay, so paramedics come in and but like y'all were saying, they don't rush in. They just kind of sauntered in. And I thought about like when they were doing it, I was like, let's go.
Hurry up.
And do y'all remember that book?
No.
It's the one where it's like an old book, like an old story.
It's called the Bible. It's called the Bible.
No. But I think they use Saunter in there, which is
sauntered.
Tom Sawyer and Huck Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember Hulk Hogan
All right.
in the book.
And I
Yeah.
thought when he said that, I was
Hulk
like, yeah,
Hogan said the N word, I think. And that's
yeah,
that's
about
the-
Jim, and that's that. But none of that. Okay, that's irrelevant. So the paramedics get him, and they take off. Right? There's firemen still left, kind of.
Hold up. You talking about me or now Hulk Hogan and Huckleberry?
You they took you off.
Oh.
I was just thinking about Saunter. No, what's that Cadbury egg book? Canterbury Tales. Saunter's in there. Not,
okay.
Not Tom Sawyer. So they take off, and the fire truck and firemen are still kind of hanging about.
They won't make sure there's no fire.
Yeah, basically.
They're just waiting.
They're all going. I don't smell no smoke.
Yeah, I think they have to wait like 5 minutes after everyone else leaves. They have to wait another 5 minutes to make sure that no fire pops off.
And so they leave, and I'm like, or they're getting ready to leave. I said, what do I do now? And they're like, well, they're going to the hospital. I was like, okay, I guess I should go there. They're, yeah, what are you doing? Get in the car. So they're like, we can't take you. You know, we have shit to do. We got to go put out fires.
You guys can't just take me up there?
Yeah. So we get there, or I get there, and now I'm in a mode of, all right, we've got Dad some help, and people know what they're doing. It's not just me, you know, not knowing what I'm doing.
Things have dramatically improved.
Yes.
The situation is much better.
So I get to the hospital, and on the way I'm sitting there thinking, I need to call Josh again, and I need to call Mom. But I don't want to call and freak them out, you know. So I decide, let me go in, assess the situation.
Hold on. Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't want to freak them out.
Yeah.
So I'm in the hospital, having a heart attack with the thing, I don't know.
Didn't know that at the time.
Number 12 tube down my throat, you know.
Probably didn't know that at the time either.
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't know any of it. You know.
I mean, Caleb didn't know either.
Yeah.
But you didn't want to freak nobody out.
Right.
Okay,
What I wanted
gotcha.
to do is basically, because I'm already freaking
You gonna ease them into it.
Yeah, I am losing my shit in my mind because I don't know what's happening, and I've never dealt with anything quite like this. So I'm thinking, now I'm trying to rationalize, all right, I need, you know, it'd be nice to have somebody here, but also I don't want to call them and say, hey, get here right now. I don't know what's going on. Because that was kind of what happened to me, and that I didn't like that feeling. So I was like, don't let me do that. So I go, about 15, 20 minutes, doctor comes out. He's like, hey, let me talk to you about what's going on with your dad. I said, okay. So he comes out and he tells me, he's like, pretty sure he had a heart attack, congestive heart failure, double pneumonia. He's got fluid on his lungs, and something else.
Other than that, he gonna be
Other than that, he's doing great.
Yeah.
No, another typical Saturday night for your man.
And so he tells me all that, and we're sitting in this little room. It's just me and him, and he says, now, I know I just told you a lot of bad stuff. Do you have any questions? And my response was, yeah. But I don't know. I said, is he going to be okay? He said, he's very sick. Said, I kind of gathered that by all the other shit you just told me.
Yeah, that's not the answer I was looking for, but all right.
Yeah. I said,
Okay.
do I need to go call my mom? Where's your mom? She's at work. Yeah, you probably need to go ahead and call your mom, tell her to come up here. I'm like,
Yeah, that's the thing. What answer that you would give to that? Like, why did he ask that? Like, where is your mom?
yeah,
Like-
probably. He's probably thinking the same thing the lady answering 911 said. Where's the ambulance coming from? What the hell does it matter?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
That's what he's
Well,
going. That's
from
what
the
the doctor.
doctor's standpoint,
Yeah.
you know, probably in 95% of the households, you know, your father's at home at midnight on Saturday night.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mom's usually right there nearby somewhere, you know.
Good.
That's
good
what he was.
logical-
Well, that's
his
what he
thing
was
is,
getting to.
why, you know,
why is she not
are they
here now?
divorced?
Yeah.
You know, does she not have a clue what's going? You know,
She
why
out
is your
drinking?
mother not involved already?
Yeah.
So I can understand his.
She's somewhere
Question.
stripping. What's she doing?
Well, I was
Still
see. I'm
in the
the
bowl.
I'm totally opposite because I'm thinking the doctor's thinking your mom is her ass is home in the bed and your dad had a heart attack in the next room. Is she laying in the bed? Yeah, call her and get her ass up. That's what I'm
And that
thinking.
could have been his line of thinking. I don't know.
So I decide, okay, now I got to call my mom because he didn't say, yeah, your dad's going to be okay. So now I'm freaking out even more. But I'm cool like a damn swimming pool. You know what I'm saying? I call up Mom. Now it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Call Mom. She picks up. I said, hey, what are you doing?
At 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Her at work.
What
And they
you
never call
doing?
each other at 1 o'clock. They never call. It's always text.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you doing?
What you doing?
She said,
Well, I'm working. What do you think
what's
I'm doing?
wrong? And then I said, well, I got Dad up here at the hospital, and pretty sure he had a heart attack. They got him up here now taking care of him. But if you want to just come on up here, you know, doctor told me to tell you to come up here. And she said, oh. I said, yeah. I said, you ain't got to come up here, you know, mock Jesus. You ain't got to, you know, do like I did, but just come on up here. She said, oh, okay, I'll be there in a few minutes. I said, okay. So she gets there, and I kind of tell her what's going on. And now I hadn't even seen Dad since we left here, the house. But by the time Mom gets there, they've already took me back to let me see him, and he's, out of it. He's laying there. He's got tubes and wires and damn electrodes and.
Am I on a ventilator?
Yeah.
And I got that thing down my throat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's down my throat? You know them things that on the end of your downspouts, them black pipes. They had one of them down my throat.
Yeah. It wasn't quite that big, but same concept.
I understand. Yeah, I've seen it.
But they, so then I was freaking out kind of because now I'm seeing it, and then they said, hey, we're going to, no, the little nurse in there was very awesome. She's probably younger than me, younger than you, and just super. Just telling me, hey, this is what's going on. This is kind of what we're doing. And she said, we got him on, and then there was another nurse in there who wasn't that great. And she said, yeah, we got him on propofol to sedate him. I said, oh, okay. Now I, being astute, know what propofol is. She
you probably wasn't sure, but you've had it before.
Yeah, she felt like she needed to elaborate. And I said, oh, okay. And she said,
You know what propofol is?
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's like,
She said,
okay, well,
do you know what propofol is? I said, she said, the Michael Jackson drug? I said, maybe don't phrase it that way, when this is still kind of touch and go.
Yeah, because he died from it. He died from it, so maybe we don't compare it to that.
Right.
Maybe we don't.
Then a few minutes later, they come in, and they're getting his levels all stabled, and because he set some records with his levels. They're getting him all stable, and then a nurse comes in and says,
So when's the award?
Just so you know.
When's the award ceremony for the records you've set?
yeah,
Well, he did that previously too. The last time he went to the hospital, he said
in an
There you
emergency
are.
situation.
So,
Yeah. We then another nurse comes
I'm
in,
all about them records, Earl.
Tell it.
and she says, hey, we're going to go ahead and give him a shot of this fentanyl as well. And I'm like,
That's not good.
Fentanyl.
That's what I told him. I was like, don't worry, it's medical grade, it's liquid, it's not on the streets, powder kill you.
yeah, still.
They know how to administer it, so.
None of that really mattered at that point to me. Josh could have told me it was damn nerd rope they shooting at him.
So you were there by this time?
No,
I don't think I was, though.
he was not.
So I wasn't there to tell him, fentanyl,
you weren't there
about
to be the
fentanyl being
calming
different than the street
influence?
fentanyl.
No.
Yeah.
And so they're doing all this stuff to Dad. And then Mom gets there, and we're back there, waiting, kind of trying to figure out what we're going to do, And so we ask again. They're like, we're like, hey, is he going to be all right? Or they're like, well, we got him sedated right now, so, we're going to try to either transfer him to Greenville to get, some, more heart care, or
Well, you got to remember that
keep him here.
everything we've told you so far has happened in 6 hours at the most.
No,
at the very most.
everything that we've told you so far has happened in about an hour and a half.
At the most.
Yeah.
See, there you go trying to keep a dang timeline when you don't even know what's
I was
going
out
on.
of it. Yeah, I mean,
But I'll expedite a little bit of it, because if I tell this story,
We'll be here
the
all
full
day.
story, it'll be a damn movie.
Yeah.
And so they get him, they get his levels,
Get him stabilized.
that's what they got him. They got him
they call it.
stabilized.
That's what they
When he
call it.
got there, his blood pressure was 230 over 180.
which that's not good.
No, that's a little on the high side.
His oxygen level was 61.
What's that supposed to be?
I think he's supposed to be above 93.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
90s.
So he was at 61.
I wasn't getting enough air on.
And brain damage again.
Yeah,
Again.
started
Keyword
again.
being again.
Again. And this one, semi-self-inflicted maybe. The previous one's for sure self-inflicted. His body temperature was 93.
Well, that's because we skipped a step when it was up there.
That's because that damn front door was open. It's
Yeah.
28 degrees outside.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to, now that you mentioned it, I didn't want to, kind of throw any shade toward you. But when I got here, I thought, Dad
Now
needs
listen,
help.
in my defense, I was having a heart attack.
Yeah.
Okay, and I had double pneumonia. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had no clue that.
Cut me
neither
a
of these
little
things were happening
slack.
Either.
So when I got here, I run up the stairs and run out to the porch, and Dad is sitting there. Again, it's 28 degrees outside, 12:30 in the morning. Not a damn soul in sight, except me and Dad and Skillet. Dad is he has no clothing on, so
I'm naked, Earl.
yeah,
Naked.
on the
As a
porch,
jaybird.
28 degrees outside, And so I'm sitting there thinking, oh, damn. And he tells me he can't breathe. And I said, well, all right. So
That's because you're naked, fool.
yeah. I said, I can't breathe now either. And so he said, I can't breathe. And so I put my hand on his chest. I said, you just got to take some deep breaths. And he tried, and it wasn't working.
Like I hadn't tried that before.
Yeah.
All you got to do is take some deep breaths. Well, shit, I didn't think about that.
When I said that, I thought, that's fucking stupid. He's been trying that for an hour. And so I thought, well, maybe whatever. And so then I realized, well, he's got to go to the hospital, so I better get him some pants. So I run inside, find him some pants.
Hold on a minute now.
Yeah.
Before you go too far.
All right.
What? Again, you cut me some slack because I had a heart attack and I had double pneumonia. And I was outside and I thought if I could get cold enough, you know how when you go, like that, when you get.
You thought it'd come
I
back?
thought I'd do that and catch back up.
Yeah.
You thought you
Like
could
that-
manually
How'd that
reset
work out
your
for
hand?
you?
You're
I
like,
want,
oh, yeah, let me
I
just hit the
wanted. My
reset
idea
button
was to
real
make
quick.
it sound like that thing at the bank when they send that thing through there, like that right there. If I could do that, I could get my breath back. You
Get back in rhythm on breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. So there I was naked, Earl.
Yeah.
And listen, and I was naked, and it was 28 degrees, but I was pouring sweat. I mean, I was sweating.
Yeah. Looked like he had just jumped in a pool and stepped out. No towel. Literally. So I'm putting helping him get his pants on, and then
Jogging pants. We're trying to get my jogging pants on.
Yeah.
Oh, you needed jogging pants, didn't you?
just some kind
Well, I
of
didn't want no
pants.
blue jeans. I don't want to think I don't ride a horse or something.
Yeah.
Go jog a mile or
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get these things on, and me being me, trying not to lose my damn mind because I don't know what's happening. I said, I can't get your pants on. Your toenails are too long.
Now we got to cut his toenails.
Yeah. And he didn't laugh, so I knew it was pretty serious. And so we get his pants on, and as soon as we get his pants on, paramedics are coming in the front door. And I was like, whew, I made it.
Barely.
They didn't have to put his pants on him. And what's funny is he
You have to wait 5 minutes for them to stop laughing.
Right.
Before they got him sitting on the bed.
So when he finally woke up on Tuesday, he was asking a bunch of questions, and because he didn't know anything happened. So he said, when we told him he was naked on the porch, he said, I was naked. I said, yeah. I said, I got you some pants on before the paramedics got there. He said, when I rode in the ambulance, he said, did I have on, I had my pants on. Did I have on a shirt? I said, no. He said, did I have on a jacket? I said, no. He said, did I have on my shoes? I said, I think somebody took them with you. I said, I don't think you had them on. He said, so all I had on was my pants. I said, damn. I said, it was all I could do to get them over your toenails. I couldn't put your whole damn ensemble together. I said, time was running thin. So they got him, and then where are we at now?
Well, we already did Tuesday morning, but I can tell right now for the next 3 Saturdays we're gonna be doing this whole show because
Oh, yeah.
we done missed so much stuff out on the deck.
Yeah.
Cause they ain't told you about Three Finger Pete yet.
No. No.
And see, I don't even know about Three Finger Pete because I was out of it, but they do.
Yeah. There's a gentleman that works at Oconee here.
Old Three-Finger Pete.
Yeah. Pete has something
He
going
looked
on
like
like
this.
that right there.
Or maybe like that.
I think it was that.
Maybe
I think
like
it was,
that.
He was disnumbered. He had done gnawed off 2 of them,
Before he became an EMS guy, he was a logger.
Lager.
Yeah.
evidently. But this guy was. He wasn't an EMS guy because you got to have your damn phalanges to do shit. And he was deficient in that area. He was a respiratory.
Therapist.
No, like a respiratory sous chef or whatever. He wasn't the main guy, but he was the
Second in
Yeah,
charge.
he was the assistant.
Probably
And,
a therapy assistant, something like that.
So he
Now
would
here's
come
the best
in-
part,
yeah.
Earl. You got to remember, this is Three Finger Pete now, okay? And he's the guy that's going to try to make me breathe.
Yeah.
Out here on the deck, start with, after I'm having a heart attack and I got pneumonia, all right? Three Finger Pete going to try to get me breathing out there. And I can't remember none of this,
Yeah.
all right? And then tell him what happened.
So what Pete would do is he would come in about 2 times a day and you get the ventilator tube and clean it out. Well, basically, it's like a pipe cleaning type thing, or like when you get lint out of your thing with the thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had to do that. Well, when he did that, it would like cause Dad to kind of wake up, and he would have to try to cough. Well, he couldn't. No sound was coming out. He couldn't expel anything.
Yeah, he had
he
all
had
the
his
tubes in.
breathing tube in. And so, but he would stir awake, and they also had him handcuffed to the bed with like
Imagine that.
with like soft handcuffs, you know? And
He used to that.
so he could. They told us, they're like, we're gonna put these on him so he doesn't try to pull his breathing tube out. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Just make him better. You can do whatever you want.
They did. They put mitts on him.
Oh yeah, then they put like those hamburger helper gloves on him.
They had a hamburger helper.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
I wish I'd known. Why didn't you bring him home?
That was a
Nah, yeah, you wouldn't have wanted them. They're from Oconee.
Oh, okay.
Ain't no telling how many people use them.
One of them was cut out for Three Finger Pete.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
Like them like they tried to put me some socks on in Greenville.
oh,
And I wear just say a size 12. Well, the socks were size 17 and a half. I mean,
They told you had these huge toenails sticking out.
yeah, exactly.
Yep. 17 and a half wide. It was made for a fatty.
oh yeah. So Pete comes in, and I don't know where Mom and Josh were. This was the next morning, probably 6 hours after the emergency. Now he's stable. He's in there. Well, Pete comes in, and I'm the only one in there with Dad at this point. And Pete says, "All right, Mr. King, we're going to clean out whatever." And basically, he runs this tube down the breathing tube, pulls out all the bullshit, and then he says, "We're gonna do it 2 times." And of course, Dad's out. Dad don't know. And I'm sitting there, but we figured out at this point that when Dad stirs awake, if me or Josh is right there and he can see us, he doesn't freak out as bad. If he just wakes up and we're not, in his line of sight, he freaks out because don't know where he's at, don't know why he's here, don't know why he can't move his hands, why can't I breathe, So
And there's a guy with 3 fingers looking at me.
yeah. So Pete comes over, and I go over there and stand beside Dad because I know he's about to stir awake, and I want him to see me. And so Pete, does the first thing, and he kind of runs it in there, and Dad wakes up, tries to cough, can't, and I'm trying to calm him down. I'm like, hey, it's all good. One more time. All you get, doing it 2 times. One more time, and you're done. And Pete says, all right, one more time. Runs it down in there again, pulls it out, said, you done. That's it. You did it. And then Pete said, one more time. Goes down there again. I said, well, evidently Pete don't know how to fucking count.
That's what it was.
1, 2, 2, 3.
Yeah. I said, now you done. And that was the conversation I'm having to Dad, because he can't respond, with Pete, 3 Finger Pete, standing here. I don't think he appreciated me saying, I don't think Pete knows how to fucking count. Because he did not talk much after that.
And again, please remember that we're just at the most 6 hours into this ordeal.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is probably going to be a multi-parter, like Dad said. But yeah. So then we figure out, okay, then the cardiologist comes in to tell us and explain actually what happened, what's going on.
What I'm doing here is I'm going back to figure out what time it is you first notified me.
Yeah. I'll not use his name because somebody will probably know him. But this cardiologist was kind of a dumbass. Probably a very smart guy, but not great at explaining shit. So he comes in, and me and Josh are in there. You can only have 2 people back in the room at a time. So
Is this a regular hospital room?
this is ICU at Oconee.
Intensive care.
So you were in intensive care from the moment you got there until you woke up Tuesday around lunchtime.
And you were still in the ICU technically. But
for another day. So you were only in a regular room for about 14 hours, 16 hours out of the 5 days. So the cardiologist comes in, and me and Josh are in there, and he says, hey, who are you? Josh said, I'm Josh, I'm his son. He looked at me and said, who are you? I said, I'm Caleb, I'm his son. Oh, okay, I'm Dr. So-and-so. Looks like your dad had a heart attack. And we're sitting there thinking, yeah, no shit.
yeah, if you have a cardiologist in Oconee County you don't like, it's this guy.
Yeah.
It's this guy. So
And so
everybody knows him.
he said, looks like it was a pretty, I don't know what word he used. He didn't say massive. He didn't say severe. He said pretty large heart attack. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, how do you measure them?
A very good
Anyway.
explanation.
He said, so basically there's some damage here on the left side, and looks like he's has an aneurysm on there as well. And the heart should be pumping at 65%, and it's only pumping at 35%. And then he draws a picture of the aneurysm.
What looks like a small turd on
Yeah.
like a shittily drawn picture of like Oahu.
Yeah.
It's just really it's like it looks like South Carolina, and then he draws a circle on the side. And he's
Yeah.
like, that's the aneurysm.
Yeah, and then he writes 65 and 35. We're like, yeah, we got that part, guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, he says all that, and he says, so we're going to ship him to Greenville. We're like, oh, okay, cool, great. How are we going to do that? He says, well, they'll send a ambulance. He'll probably go by ambulance or something. We're like, or something?
Yeah, what's the
What are you
other
talking
option?
about?
What's the other option?
Anybody got a station wagon?
Yeah.
We can borrow it.
So,
I can tell you what the other option cost.
oh, so he leaves, and we find he had a doctor that was the doctor of the intensive care for the day or what, I don't know how that works, but he was very helpful. Dr. Jimmy, he came in and re-explained everything that this shitty cardiologist just told us, and he said, so now we're going to put the transfer into Greenville. He said they'll send a team from Greenville to pick him up and take him back to Greenville.
They send in the A-team to get me, Earl. You hear him?
Yeah. So he said it'll probably take a couple hours or whatever, and we're like, okay, cool.
Let me go back to this aneurysm, because this is only the second time I heard this. What'd they do about that? Did you cut it out or
Apparently
something?
nothing. For as far as we can tell,
Still
he
in
didn't
there?
have one.
Oh, we didn't have one at all?
Nobody in Greenville ever mentioned it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you just had like a misshapen heart or something, but
What looked like a biscuit instead of heart.
yeah,
Like a growth.
Yeah.
yeah,
And like a growth on it.
but or just like a piece of biscuit got stuck in the wrong spot attached to it. But no one in Greenville ever mentioned the aneurysm, so we don't think. I mean, who the hell? What do we know? We're doing a damn podcast joking about it. So, then what were we talking about?
We're talking about going to Greenville.
Yeah. So
Sent the A-team after me.
yeah. So the
Transport crew.
we asked the nurse before the transport people get there. We said, hey, so they just put him in an ambulance and take him there? And she's like, well, there's 3 options. They can either put him in an ambulance and take him there, or they can put him in an ambulance with lights and sirens and get him there quick, or they could do the chopper. And we're like,
Get the chopper.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
She's like, I don't think he needs a chopper. So probably just go ambulance or lights and sirens. We're like, okay. So we just follow them. Then, she's like, yeah. So about 45
But now,
minutes.
but they didn't just put me in the ambulance and take me to Greenville, did they?
Pretty much. I mean, it was.
Oh, I thought they sent one from Greenville to get me.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. They didn't put you in an Oconee ambulance and just take you straight there. They
That's
sent
good.
the team from Greenville.
We might have run out of gas or something.
Yeah. They sent the team from Greenville to pick him up and take him back. And it took them about 45 minutes to get there, I think. And the pace at which all this was happening let us know this is still pretty serious. So there was a group. How many people were there? 5 or 6?
4.
4. So there's a group of people who show up or like around the nurses station, and there's a bunch of people like gathered with them.
Are they all dressed in black and stuff? Wearing sunglasses and all that?
They
That's
weren't
what
wearing
I pictured.
sunglasses, but they were all dressed in black. So
You've been there before, ain't you?
Well, except for the one guy, except for the leader of them, he was dressed in like a full white uniform, right?
No.
He had a white shirt on.
I don't think so. I
Clean
thought he had a
cut guy.
black pullover like you had.
I think those were.
You
the
said he
grunts.
had a black pullover that said leader or something on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're over here at the nurse's station talking and whatnot, and I'm kind of figuring those might be the guys. So about a minute later, they come to the door, and there's a guy who's got a pullover kind of like Josh, and it says critical care unit supervisor. And he comes in and introduces himself. He said, "Hey, I'm Tim, maybe." And I said, "Hey, Caleb, Josh, Mom, my dad over there chilling, you know." And he said, "We're gonna get your dad transported to Greenville." He said, "Everything's gonna be just fine." I was like, that's the first time I'd heard that in a day or half a day. So that made me feel kind of good. Then he introduced me to the main badass. I don't know. What did we call him earlier? Guys with parachute in.
Hemoglobins.
Paramedic.
No, it ain't right.
Paramedics. There we go.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, we're gonna get your dad ready to transport." He said, "We're gonna take him to Greenville." He said it'll probably take about 55 minutes to get him there. So if you guys want to follow us, you're more than welcome to. Or once we get him there, they'll come to the waiting room and get you whenever he's ready for y'all to come see him. Like, cool. He looks at the supervisor. Supervisor looks at him. He said, "All right, you ready to do the transfer?" He said, "Yep, let's do it." He tells the nurses from Oconee, they're like, "You need any help?" He's like, "Nope, y'all can go stand by the door." And so
Yeah, removes them.
he starts looking at all the shit that they got Dad hooked up to, and he's reading it out, and the supervisor's punching it in on all their shit.
So basically, everything he was hooked up to, they had some sort of small device that does the same thing on the stretcher.
Yep.
So they had a portable ventilator, they had a portable, IV, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so he's punching it up. They get it ready. They're testing all their stuff, and then they start unhooking Dad from everything. And so now Dad's just laying there, and he said, "All right, we're going to move him over to the stretcher and hook him right back up." So they kind of make sure, I guess they got it set up, ready, and whatever. Tim grabs, what was Tony the other guy's name?
Maybe.
I don't know. Tim and Tony.
That's what we're going to go with.
One of them grabs the sheet, the fitted sheet under Dad at the where his head is. The other one grabs it at the feet, pick him right up, sit him right down.
Hook the
Hooked him
breathing tube right up.
Yep, hooked him right back up to all this shit. And they said, check one other thing, and they said, "All right, we ready to go?" He said, "Yep, we're ready to go." So, "All right, we'll see you guys in Greenville in about 50 minutes.
Raised him up with the hydraulics and whoop.
Yeah, this happened in a matter of from the time they walked in the door to the time they rolled him out to get an ambulance, less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, they were quick. And nothing against Oconee, because the nurses are great, some of them. Some of them are shitty. But you could tell that these guys were there for a purpose, knew what they were doing. They're like, "Hey, we know what we're doing next. We know what the next step is." Oconee was kind of like, we'll wait and see. It's not really what I want to hear. You're not making me feel better. So they got him in an ambulance, and by the time we got to Greenville, I think we were in the waiting room for 2-3 minutes. Nurse comes out, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want to come back and see your dad? We got him transferred over to his bed." We're like, "Yes." So that's the first part of the story.
Yeah.
Now we're in Greenville.
That gets us. That gets us for how many total hours is now? Are we in?
Probably 14 because
Okay.
I looked at my phone.
Mm-hmm.
You texted me at 12:53, which is shortly after lunch
Yes.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
And in your statement, you say we're waiting. We're at Oconee now, waiting on transfer to Greenville.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they probably left the hospital at like 1:45 ish.
So and they got there at say 3. So we not but 12 hours,
Like 15, something like
12,
that.
15 hours into this whole ordeal.
Yes.
At 12:13, you say we are in Oconee now, waiting for a transfer to Greenville. They have his blood pressure pretty stable, and have him sedated so he can rest without pulling out his ventilator tube. I will keep you posted with any new updates.
You may have to put him down.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking, I got to text all these people and give them updates about what's going on. And but then again, I was like, I don't want to freak them out. I got to quit thinking about that. If I'm freaked out, you're going to be freaked out too, damn it.
It don't matter. Sorry.
I'm going to lose my
circumstance.
So, yeah, so now we've got him to Greenville, and this is where it kind of...
Things get cloudy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just a lot of shit to remember. So, luckily, Josh was there, and
that didn't help the memory part,
well,
though, did it?
He's got cabinets that are not as full as they once were, so...
Yeah, they
sent remember
they sent in a restoration team for my file cabinets upstairs, so they're doing better. They're just not, they're not 100% yet.
Yeah.
I look forward to the rest of this story.
Yeah. We'll Paul Harvey it.
The rest of the story.
I sure hope nobody would embellish any of these stories and
Well, we hadn't so
at your
far.
expense.
Well, no. That wouldn't happen, I'm sure.
Nope. Everything that we have told up until this point has been 100% factual.
Yeah.
So, and that is the scary part.
Yeah.
Because all those numbers, those are real numbers. All those, me freaking out.
You setting records is a good way to put it, but the records weren't good. Like it was
Apparently
not good there for a second.
Before we, shut this one down, Dad, we're talking about him setting records. A couple years, 3, 4, 5 years ago, Dad was not feeling well and said
he was thirsty.
Real thirsty.
Yeah, he couldn't quench his thirst.
Finally decided.
I've been with him on several Friday and Saturday nights with that exact same scenario, so I can relate to that.
Yeah, that's what worried me though, is because this one was with water.
Oh,
you couldn't get enough water. I was like,
this was on a Saturday, and I was feeling real bad Saturday morning, just wore out. And finally, I called Tracy. I said, "Just come and get me and take me to the emergency room." And so Tracy did. She come and got me and took me to the emergency room in Greenville, because we don't go to Oconee. We went to Greenville.
Yeah, unless it's dire straits and Kay don't know what the hell to do. So.
Oh yeah.
Didn't really have a choice in that one.
Yeah.
This one we did though. So took you to Greenville right away.
Yeah, I can tell the rest of the story.
Oh.
I mean,
well, I was out of town. I was on vacation, so I don't know. But Josh was there or was getting there or something. And apparently that's when they discovered that he had to beat us.
Had diabetes pretty severely also because his blood sugar was...
had never in my life been diagnosed or mentioned beat these around me. I mean, no idea.
Yeah, and it was about to hit 4 digits, 1,000. And anytime you're over 300, I think they're like, whoa. Especially once you hit 400, they're like, whoa, we got to do something. His was 900. So they were like, we don't know how.
That's
he's
basically
not
what that nurse said.
Diabetic.
Mr. King.
Yeah, how are you functioning right now?
And they telling me I ought to know this stuff. Well, you ought to know what your number is. Well, how in the hell would I know? I thought 900 was good.
I always try to score as high as I can.
Yeah. Well, she says, Mr. King, usually people with, if they come in their number's over 500, usually they leave in a body bag. I said, well, I don't want to do that.
That's not what I came here for.
And she said, Mr. King, your number was 968. Did I win anything?
Yeah. What do I get? A plaque?
Yeah. She said,
"We're gonna have to animals. I want the big one."
Yeah, we're gonna have to start doing stuff to you.
And they did. They started doing
stuff.
stuff.
We're gonna have to
shoot
you up with some insulin and stuff. And I didn't know what insulin was. I thought insulin was that stuff bees make. What you call that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sap.
Yeah, that stuff. Well, put some in me, I guess. I mean,
Top me off.
Yeah. So I mean, that's how that whole thing started.
So that was the first record, blood sugar being so high, and then this time he had some.
Yeah, apparently there's the nurses were telling us that there is. I don't remember. You know, I remember some of this stuff pretty vividly, but some of it. She told me what it was called. Right? There's a number, a marker in your blood when they test it.
Like Tripoli or something, but it's not that. It's like that though.
Right. And that number is supposed to be between 0 and 0.04.
That's your alcohol blood tint. You probably gonna peg that meter on this one.
See, there you go.
Yep.
So it's a real you shouldn't have any, I don't think. But then you do have some
particular enzyme
0.04.
Yeah, that's high. That's probably having a heart attack. 0.04.
So they said Dad's number.
16.3.
Yeah, Dad's number was 100.
That's kind of what we said too. We're like,
Yeah.
what?
They said that they had never seen a number that high, which kind of like the blood sugar thing.
Never seen somebody leave with a number that high. Not
They said that.
deceased.
Yeah. They said that every person that was working in the lab that night was told, hey, whatever you're working on, push it to the back, do this first.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Y'all gather around. Gather around. I want y'all to look.
See what other high numbers he has.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blood pressure, damn, that's pretty high. Body temperature, that's kind of low. Oxygen, holy cow, that's low too. We're like,
He's not doing well.
yeah. And I guess that's why the doctor told me he's very sick.
Well, that's the reason I want to ask all these questions about, because I want to make sure somebody's with me all the time. Because I didn't want nobody to be in there, me be strapped up to this table, and them parading in. There he is, right there. Look at him. Look at. Guess what number? Guess. You know what that
No
number was?
pictures, please. No pictures.
Yeah.
Come on. Let him rest. Well, I think next week we'll probably finish this story. That way we can.
I don't think we're going to finish it next week.
No,
Because we ain't but 12 hours into it. I mean,
This has been a week long.
and it lasted a week, didn't it? Or
Fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were in there for 5 days, I
Yeah,
think.
you came home Friday night at 9 o'clock-ish or so is when I got.
Yeah. So, well, we'll tell you more next week. Like
And-
Paul Harvey.
I'll still have
Stay
it.
tuned.
I still have his recorder with me. Recording everything we say.
We'll tell him about that.
For the rest of the story, tune in next week.